Hey everyone, welcome to episode 57 of the Gig Life podcast. I am your host Stevie Taylor. Welcome to the show. Man, always good to have you here. Now, if you are looking for other podcasts to listen to, because I listen to podcasts, I thought I would tell you a few of the podcasts that I like to listen to, and they're similar sort of fields to what we're doing here on the Gig Life podcast. And I get inspired by these people, so I hope you go and check them out. So don't give up your day job. Now, that's with Danny McCrum and Bobby Kennedy in New Zealand, and they talk to artists and professionals and musicians, industry people, and sort of, get their take on things. There's the Guitar Speak podcast with Matt Wakeling. Matt speaks to guitarists and reviews gear and just does really cool guitar stuff. The Deconstructed Drummer podcast with Jeff Dukakis. He talks to drummers and really digs deep and analyzes them, and he's a very smart guy, Jeff. And another one is the New Zealand Drummer podcast with Andrew Rooney. He's doing that over in New Zealand, doing cool things. So yeah, links to those are in the show notes. So go check them out. Anyway, on with the show. My guest today is drummer, band manager, entertainment agent and entrepreneur from Sydney, Emilio Panetta. Growing up in a strict Italian family, for Emilio to be able to play drums, on tomato sauce day he would steal the empty foam tomato boxes, hide them down the back of the yard and use tree branches as sticks to practice. Now, after completing a carpentry trade that he never really wanted to do, music was always the dream. Having played with and managed a bunch of bands and artists including Buddy Holly Show, Roachford, Jess Maulboy, Shannon Noll, he now owns and runs his very own entertainment agency, EP Entertainment, as well as still playing drums in his band, Soul Nights. A husband, a father, with another one on the way, and on top of that, he's just bought a coffee shop. So how does he do it all? I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, check it out. It's the very cool Emilio Panetta. Cheers. Watch them as I follow me. Have mercy. No one else can move me. All right, I think we're rolling. Welcome to the Gig Life podcast, Emilio Panetta.
Thank you for having me,
How
Steve.
are you, bro? Did I get the last name right?
Perfect, mate.
Nailed
Perfect. Nice tang there, mate.
Been practicing all afternoon. Yeah, man. We finally made this happen. I have to apologise for cancelling the last 2 weeks. Life.
Things happen, mate.
Things happen, man, but here we are, and it's cool to sit and hang with you, man.
Absolutely.
You got a lot going on at the moment, eh?
Sure do.
You just bought a coffee shop?
Bought a little espresso place in Des Moines,
Yep.
which great coffee, good food.
Yep.
Homemade food. The wifey cooks a bit. And then I've got a cook that cooks food, pastas and makes all the sandwiches and stuff like that. So, yeah, good vibe, good little place in Des Moines.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So how did that come about? What was the mindset? What were you doing when you just decided, shit, I'm going to buy a coffee shop, I'm gonna buy an Expresso Bar?
I've always, loved music. I love businesses. I love being in business.
Yep.
And it was just something that I wanted to get my wife involved in, just to make her feel like, being a mother, sometimes it's good to actually step outside being a mum and, go and do a 9-to-5 job, even though she had it for a long time.
Totally.
I think it was just a good mindset for her. And I think it was something that was for herself and her own doing. And, let's put something together and, called a Bar Emilio's.
Nice. Yeah. How about your timing, though? Like, you got a 1-year-old and you got a newborn coming in a few months.
Well, funny enough, we actually signed, the day we signed the contract was the day we found out she was pregnant.
Before or after?
No, the actual day we signed. So she wasn't feeling well, so we went to the doctors
After you signed?
After we signed.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And then we found out she was pregnant, and you're not going to believe it's actually a boy, and it's the first boy in the family. So we're
right, okay.
quite stoked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Good stuff.
yeah, 9 nieces, so it's
Wow.
the first boy, so we're going to keep the Panetta name alive, I suppose.
Yeah, nice one. Good
Yeah.
stuff. All right, man. So let's roll back to the early days where it all started for you. Italian.
Yep.
Were you Sydney born Italian?
Yeah, Sydney born, yep.
Yep. Your mother and father from Italy?
Yeah, from Italy.
And then moved here?
Moved here to Sydney. They were from Calabria. And basically farmers, working in the farm, growing flowers, vegetables and stuff like that. So, yeah. Come to Sydney and, they worked quite hard to grow flowers and obviously made it a full-time job and, brought 5 kids up and, yeah, the rest is history, I suppose. We've all grown up and pursued our own careers.
Right, that's awesome. So what made them come here in the first place?
I think Dad wanted to, have a better life for, Mum as well. And I think, having my older brother John and my sister Marie, I think that just, the education in Australia was a lot better. And obviously they just wanted to come to Australia and set a new life for them and new journey, I should say. And it's been fantastic ever since, So, I don't know what the real reason why they came, but I know that Dad, said, look, it was all about the education and coming to Australia, So, yeah.
That's cool. Now, music in the family?
No.
Not at all?
Not at all, actually. They were quite against it, actually. Yeah, they didn't really. Music is sort of like a bit of a hobby. So I think they're just hard-working family that worked, instead of 9 to 5, they would do, 12, 13, 14 hours a day. So, yeah, workaholics, I should say. Yeah.
So how did that music bug start for you? Did you see somebody playing or did you hear something? Was it the visual, seeing a band, seeing a drummer?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both, Being in the Italian community, there was a lot of weddings and you'd have your 700-800 people turn up to these old wedding receptions like Festival House, Concord, if you ever wanted to know where I was on the night, I'd be sitting behind a drummer and I don't know what it was, but I was intrigued by it. I'd sit behind these drummers and just watch it, and even if they were playing Italian music or even if they were playing anything, I was just mesmerised by them, and I think it started from that, I just watched these players play, didn't even know what they were doing. I was just watching and it's, I kind of thought, wow, this is cool. And I think it just all started from that,
Do you know do you remember who some of those drummers were that you were watching? Any of those people we might know?
No. To be quite honest, no. I don't. I actually don't even remember their names, but, I would have been about 6 or 7 years old.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
They were probably, obviously session musicians back in the day, but, yeah, I'm not too sure of their names, unfortunately.
Now, tell me about tomato sauce day.
So, growing up in an Italian family, Mum and Dad would always make everything fresh and produces and, make the sauce, the salami, the olives and the sun-dried tomatoes. And then, so one day they were making, it was sauce day and the tomatoes came in these foam boxes. So I took them off them once they emptied all the tomatoes and I hid them at the back. And then I started getting these boxes and getting some tree sticks and putting it together and started playing as I was playing in a concert. And because we had it was a bit of a hilly backyard, it was quite a big backyard because it was, we used to grow flowers there. So I used to just sit on these boxes and pretend I was playing in a concert. And I was constantly practicing on these boxes. Well, I thought I was playing in a concert. But I just started loving it and just practicing, and didn't know what I was practicing, but I was just playing, and it was great fun. Yeah, so I think that's where it all started from.
Right. Did your parents know you were doing that?
No,
Yeah, really?
not at all.
How do you keep that quiet?
Because it was
you had a massive
backyard.
Yard, right?
Massive backyard.
Right.
And it was.
I can just see you running down with these boxes.
I remember taking these 2 boxes, actually. I'll never forget that day. And he had some black plastic, and I used to hide them, this black plastic. I never forget that day. And it was one day that one of Dad's good friends, who also we used to sell flowers to, was also a drummer that I didn't know. And he one day happened to come at the back with Dad, and obviously Dad had noticed that I was playing on some boxes. And his name was George Sacosta, actually. He had a flower shop on Delhi Road in North Ryde. And he said to Dad, this kid, he loves this, he needs to play. He needs to play. And, being Dad, he's like, oh, no, he's got to go to work. Don't worry about it. He's got to go to work. So I think that's when it kind of started getting into my body, like this is what I want to do.
Almost a rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I actually, I did. I thought, you know what? No, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. And I think it just started from there,
Right, so how'd you go about doing it?
I think I kept on practicing on these boxes, and then one day George said, "Oh, come to my house, and I've got a drum kit, and you can start playing." And I remember Dad was like, "No, he doesn't need to come. He's got to work. He's got to get a trade, and he's young." And anyhow, it so happened we ended up going to the house, and I just started playing on this drum kit, and George was convincing Dad, you got to let this guy do it. You really need to let this guy do it, And then secretly, at school, there were school plays, and I started jumping into these plays and,
cool.
getting lessons from school. Obviously not knowing much and trying to get involved with the school plays and try to get involved with teachers from the school.
Did Dad know you were doing that?
No, he didn't. So what I was doing was I was working at the service station at Caltex. Obviously I was a bit older then, and I was getting some pocket money, and I was trying to get some money to have some lessons and stuff. I was always short, but,
right.
You'd ask your siblings, extra 20 or extra 30 or, that's kind of where it started off. Yeah, so.
So you got those lessons, and then was it out the back out to the boxes, or?
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Obviously, Dad wouldn't let me buy a kit.
Right.
He was like, nah, your trade is your most important. You need to be a carpenter. You need to go and do building,
So he told you it had to be building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was quite strict with that.
Okay.
You need to take a trade on. You need to follow your older brother, because my older brother's an incredible builder. And so I had to kind of follow that footstep. And it just happened from school. I was getting lessons at school, and then all of a sudden, years went by, and this thing was just running through my body. Like I need to do this. This is, So he was never lenient. Oh, look, I'm going to give you money for a drum lesson. But obviously, he'd give you money as a father would to a son.
Yep.
So there was weeks where he'd give me some money, and any money I'd save, and I'd go and do a lesson. I'd go and grab a lesson. Years went by. I started saving up, working at Big W. Pushing trolleys. Doing all these odd jobs.
Awesome.
Helping my older brother on a weekend, and I saved up, and bought a little kit. I can't remember how much it was, but it was quite cheap, but obviously expensive for me at the time. But
right.
Then I just started getting some lessons, and working, and years went on, and working again, and saving, and getting more lessons, and started getting involved with this. And then a guy by the name of Wilson, who's an incredible singer-songwriter now, he's in the scene actually. We both, he's also a drummer, so we both got to play on some school musicals and stuff like that. And then it became this thing where, this is it. This is what I'm doing now. I want to be a drummer. I want to play drums. And it started from that, and it just kept on snowballing after. Yeah.
Yeah. So who were some of the drummers you're listening to?
I was a massive fan of John Blackwell. I loved Prince. But I also grew up because my parents, not my parents, but my brothers and sisters always had so many collections of vinyls, you know, from Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, you know, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. So I was always listening to all the drummers. But funny enough, Bon Jovi, Tico. Tico Torres was like a drummer that I was like inspired by it when I first started.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be him. So when I was practicing on those boxes and to a real drum kit, it was like, you know, this is what I want to do, and I want to be like him. Yeah. So it all started from, you know, those vinyls and listening to good drummers like himself. But you know, it was all sorts of music, Motown. It was everything that you could possibly listen to. That my brothers and sisters had, I was listening to. So, and I probably didn't even know any of the drummers. I was just, oh yeah, that drummer's great, just the music. Know, just the music. So it was,
What about school bands?
Yeah,
apart from like school production stuff, but getting into school bands like with your mates and doing that kind of scene.
Yeah, there was an original band we put together with a guy named Andrew Peters. And we called it Where's Uncle Bob? And it was a folky style rock band that was kind of something that we, you know, started putting together and started playing on the weekends and in between school breaks, lunchtime. So all the kids would be playing on the paddock for lunch and, you know, hear us four blokes just, you know, practicing inside this schoolroom. So, yeah. There was an element there of time where we just, you know, were playing some original stuff, and that's how we started being in bands. And it just I think that's how it all started too, you know. So
now, when did I'll get into this early. When did the business side of things start to switch on for you? Because was it around that time were you starting to see? Explain to me.
It's
a little later on.
It's a bit tricky. Was it a bit later on? When I started knowing you can make some money out of this as a full-time job, and you can get paid, and you can go to work, and you can do what you love. I think things started changing, and it's like I started getting paid for some cover gigs by this guy Wilson, who is a dear friend of mine, and we started doing cover gigs, and you get paid, and I'm thinking, okay, this can be a job, you know, and it just started happening where a gig was coming, that gig was coming, this gig was coming, and it was just, you know, it was just rolling. And then I thought, okay, cool. I think I need to set some sort of a business here, because this is something that I can do, and I actually love doing it. And it actually started from that, you know, after the first couple of cover gigs, because before that I was in this original scene, you know, with that band Where's Uncle Bob.
Yeah. And
we started playing at these venues like Iron Duke Hotel, the Annandale Hotel, and you were playing to no one, so you ain't getting paid. And obviously, you know, at the time Dad was thinking, okay, this guy wants to play drums, but he's not even getting money for it. You know, what's happening, you know? So, yeah, I think that's pretty much where it was going.
Yeah. Did you start working a normal sort of 9-to-5 job once you got out of school, or were you starting to? Was this cover band happening while you're still at high school, perhaps, or late high school?
Yeah, it was late high school, but then when I had left high school, I ended up taking my trade.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I ended up doing a trade, a carpentry trade, and working for my brother.
Yep.
I absolutely hated every single day.
Oh, really?
I hated it.
Yep.
I didn't hate the fact that, you know, I was working for my brother. I just hated that I didn't want to be in the building game. I was kind of forced to do it, you know. Okay. So every night I would be practicing, and on the weekends if I wasn't playing, I'd be practicing. So that's, I think, where it kind of started, you know. So, yeah.
Because that's a long time. 4 years would have been a 4-year trade, yeah?
Yeah.
That's a long time to be in something that you don't want to be in.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really tough.
It was.
Now, was your father starting to get a little bit sort of lenient with, letting you play drums more? And when was he starting to see that you were starting to make some money from the cover thing?
As soon as the cousins called him and said, "Oh, did you see your son this morning on TV?"
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of years went by,
Right.
So I was in the circuit for a bit and playing, with guys with Winnear and Hunga from Sweet As, who, dear friends of mine who, I have to thank for everything they've done for me, how they got me in this industry and what they've done to me and what they do to other people is just amazing. They help everyone and it's fantastic. But I think once I started playing with Sweet As and I was one of their permanent drummers, I think Dad he was more lenient. He was like, okay, he's making some money. Then I ended up doing some stuff with the Buddy Holly musical, which was great. And we're touring that around and we did some couple of TV appearances. And I think Dad went, okay, he's obviously loving this, He's obviously loving what he wants to do and he wants to pursue this. But, he actually sat me down. He said, all right, you finish off your trade, and if you want to do it, that's up to you,
Yeah, right.
So, again, it just kept on going like that,
Yeah, my dad was like that too with us. It was, I don't think I ever had that thought that I would do music full time ever.
Okay.
Not until I was sort of much older,
Wow.
But it was always whatever you got in your head, you do your trade first because you've always got that to fall back on.
Yeah.
It was, I'm still doing that trade today.
Yeah.
I still love it. So it's
still
good.
love it.
Yeah,
it's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, the Buddy Holly story, how did that come about?
A guy by the name of Eric, a guitar player that actually got me, he's the musical director, and we were doing a cover gig in King's Cross, and one of the guys said, "Oh, who's that drummer?" Blah blah blah, and it all just started from that. You know,
cool.
And they said, "Oh, you interested in coming to trial out?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll come and have an audition." And a few drummers went and auditioned, and I got the gig, and we did 3 months. And it was fun. It was great. It was an awesome experience,
National tour, was it?
We only did we did Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Right.
It was really good. Playing every night. I think you had the Monday off, and it was a full-time job.
Yeah.
But doing what you love.
Right.
Waking up in the morning and practicing on your pad for the show for the night. It was just great. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Who were some of the guys in that band?
Eric was the MD. The other guys I didn't really know. I don't. There was a guy named Arthur on bass. Some other guys that they're obviously not in the scene that I've been working with, so they were kind of new to me.
Yep.
And to be quite honest, I can't remember everyone, but
right.
they were great musicians.
Yep.
A guy named Richard was Richie Valens, which did a great job, and there was so many people in that production that I can't remember them, but awesome bunch of crew. It was good fun.
Right. And was that a reading gig?
It started as a reading gig,
Yep.
and to be quite honest, I'm not a reader. So it's quite hard for me.
Yep.
However, I kind of had the ears and I was like listening to the tracks, and that's how I kind of picked it up. But initially it was reading charts, and I was like, okay, it was all Chinese to me at first. But
Right.
I think I just I knew the tracks, obviously with my family knowing, not family, but my older brother and my sisters listening to all styles of music. Some of that stuff was part of their collection.
Yeah,
so,
right. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so some of that Johnny B. Good and all that stuff were kind of easy.
Right.
I kind of knew it. And not only that, watching drummers at wedding receptions were playing that stuff. So
Gotcha.
sort of like
Gotcha.
brought some history.
Yeah, I just asked that because I've spoken to some people where they've played shows where the MD may change something every night,
Yeah,
and they'll write it on a chart. Sometimes they don't even talk about it.
yeah,
So they'll do their run through, and the MD will go, "I've just added something on page such and such. So you have to go and find that change and read it,
Yeah.
That'd be tough.
It was tough. I think there was a couple of moments when they did do that, but they were kind of self-explanatory. They were kind of like, hit the two here on this, on that song. And I just, to be quite honest, I remember Daryl Beaton teaching me that, the best way to learn a song is to learn it by the lyrics. And if you know the lyrics of a song, you know the track. And that's how that's how I kind of taken that, and I've learnt songs now. And that's how I learn songs. I listen to the lyrics, and I know kind of where that phrase is going or what's happening in that pattern.
Yeah, right.
So
some good advice.
Yeah, it was great advice, and incredible player too. So
did you see yourself as possibly a show drummer?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all.
So sort of how far in did you start to think, no, I don't want to be doing this?
It was actually then is when I thought, you know what, I want to start doing more than just bands and playing drums.
Oh, right, okay.
I want to expand out, and because there's so much talent out there, but being an agent, it was like something clicked in my head. I also want to be an agent. I want to put things together. I want to put bands together for weddings or people or corporate companies. I want to put floor shows, aerialists together. I want to get dancers. So that's when it actually started. I remember sitting in Perth and thinking, okay, what else is there? What am I doing? What else can I do to add to what I'm doing? How can I make this a career? And that's how it started happening again. It's like, okay, I'm going to set myself a band. I'm going to start off with a band called Soul Nights. And we started doing that, put that band together, and now it's working constantly 3-4 nights a week, and it's
great,
and it's doing well. So it was everything was a snowball effect. Things like I seen a bit of this, I seen a bit of that, and do I just want to play drums and that's it, or do I want to manage? And I like the managing side of things, so, and booking, so. Yeah.
Had you seen other people doing it that and then you were thinking, I could probably do it a bit better than that? Or I won't say better than that. Could have done it a different way?
As an agent or as
or did you just sort of have this idea that I want to try and do all that stuff and then just give it a crack?
I think what it was I've always had to prove something to Dad that music is not just a hobby.
Okay.
It's something that I love, and I need to do it because I want to do it, and I want to do it because I love to play. And to play, you can't sit at home and think, okay, the phone's going to ring and you're going to get a gig this weekend. So I've kind of tried to always say to myself, if you want that, you've got to go for it and you've got to get it. And that's how I've kind of set this business up. It's like, you know what, I want to work this weekend. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to say, do you guys need a band this weekend, or you're looking for a band for your event? And that's how it's kind of given me the drive. And at the back of my head, I've got Dad going, okay, so you're pushing this as a career. This is your life. This is what you want to do. So I've kind of made it as a business now. So, yeah.
That's cool. So how long's EP Entertainment been kicking on now?
It's between 15 to 20 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
I was looking at the website today. That link's not opening. But so DJs, MCs, Aboriginal dancers, Brazilian dancers, salsa dancers, African dancers, Bollywood dancers, Caribbean dancers, Polynesian dancers, belly dancers, harpists, string quartets, solo, classical and Spanish guitarists, fire and light performers, magicians, comedians, aerialists, human statues, and even characterists or cartoonists. How do you find these people?
Oh, it's
Well, how do you do people ring up and ask for that, or you say we can give you any of these things?
There was a lot of work behind EP Entertainment. I had to find the acts that I knew would sell, and the acts that would be appealing to clients. And there was also people that came to me and said, "Oh, look, I'd love to be on EP and I'd love to do some stuff with you."
Oh, cool.
When I got the contract with Dalton House, so Dalton House is a quite large venue, and they asked me to be their preferred supplier, I had to enlarge in the company. It had to be to a point where I wasn't just doing soul nights, or I wasn't just doing a band. I had to do other things because a lot of their clients wanted different styles of entertainment. And sometimes I'd go in the city and I'd see some acts that are on the, in Darling Harbour, performing outside busking,
Yeah, right.
and I'd approach them,
Oh, cool.
and say, hey, you guys, I'd love to, not do much, or just do this. And, I'd take some of them and they'd jump on site and, we'd do some photos and we'd get some buyers together. And then the other ones would be, these talented musicians in Sydney not doing anything and saying, jump on, let's see if we can get some work for you, So, it was just a lot of guys that were willing to come on, and it's been great ever since. Yeah.
What's been the biggest challenge?
People,
Yep.
personalities.
Yep. That'll always be the case, forever. Doesn't matter what era we're in, or
yeah, you're like a father, you're like a counsellor, you're like an agent, you're like a mentor, you're like everything, and you
got to crack the whip like a boss too.
Yeah, then you got that side there where some people don't like that. Some people think, oh, you're being too hard, or that's not nice. But at the end of the day, you get paid doing what you do, and you have to put your 100% in. And if you don't learn a song or you don't turn up on time, obviously it would annoy me as a client, but it also annoy me as an agent.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like to do that to someone, So, yeah, I think that's been the challenging part of being in the industry, I suppose. Yeah.
Are you able to turn it off when you get home? Or is this something that this must be going on all the time? You've got so much stuff going on. You'd be getting calls and emails and...
Do I turn it off? Wish my wife was right here now. The frustrating part of things, yes, I kind of switch off.
Yeah.
The thinking on making sure that client is happy and stuff, very hard to switch off because I'm very passionate and I love what I do.
Yep.
And I always like to please. I always like to make sure that person's happy with what they've gotten, And that's the hard part for me. But now that I've got a daughter that's 1 year old, she makes me switch off everything.
It's funny what kids can do, eh?
Yeah.
Because I used to be very highly strung.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as soon as I had my first daughter, just that day, everything changed. Eh? That sounds so fucking cliche, but it's true. I don't know. People would say it too, Oh, man, you have your first kid, everything will be different. Nah, it won't be any difference, just a kid,
Yeah.
Just more money I've got to make to feed it,
Yeah.
Not at all. It's just easy to switch off.
Yeah, definitely. She's a blessing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, let's talk about the sort of younger generation of musicians and artists and acts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you struggle more with the younger people's attitudes and ethics, or are they kind of...
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. As I've been brought up with a very strict family, punctuality, respect, turning up to work, because I had that 9 to 5 job, and I find these days now, some people like to turn up on time, some people don't want to learn this, some people, complain about this and complain about that, but at the end of the day, if you love what you do, that's all. That's history. You don't need to worry about that. But yeah, it's challenging. Definitely challenging. You see young generations, it's all about the hip, the cool, the looking good, but the rest of the stuff's sort of like out the window. But I think everyone learns by their mistakes, and I've learnt from my mistakes, and I make mistakes every day, and I'm still learning. And I love to learn. But I think once you be in the industry for so long, you end up learning what's right and what's wrong, and it's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
But there's so many talented young kids out there, and they're all so good. Like the scene in Sydney is just amazing. I mean, look at that thing that they did for Natasha. I mean, that was mesmerising. That stuff on The Voice, and you had all the singers singing for her, and that was just great. I just that really. That was something really nice to see, actually see, and the support that we have, because we've got a great tight community. They're all fantastic players. So,
Now, what's the biggest change you've seen in the industry in the last 10 years?
The change, too many DJs.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I think the venue scenes. The venue itself, they're starting to get the bands back again now.
Oh, that's cool.
But there was a period of time where, DJs were everything, and no disrespect to them, because I love DJs. I've got a lot of friends that are DJs.
Yeah.
But nothing beats live music. Coming to see a band, having a few drinks on a weekend and watching a band, it's a great thing to have. But, I think now bands are coming back, and the venues are starting to get more open with bands, and hopefully these lockout laws, stop, and we get some more band venues. Yeah, so fingers crossed.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the acts you've played with and you've managed, and you've also you've tour managed some of these acts. So we've got a bit of a list. Now, Roachford.
Yeah.
Man, one of the first CDs I bought when I first came to Australia was Roachford's CD. Man, I love that guy, man. He's awesome. How'd that come about, and what sort of what was your role with him being here?
A guy named Andrew Pinto started bringing some acts into Sydney and Melbourne. Couple of shows at the Basement, and obviously he did know a lot of musicians in Sydney, and I got a phone call to work for Rasan Patterson, an R&B soul singer, and Andrew was bringing some acts in the country, and I started playing for Rasan, and then he bought Roachford out, and Only to Be With You, Lay Your Love On Me was my older brother and my older sister's favourite songs.
Awesome.
So I knew those songs.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved those songs. And when I was asked to put a band together for him, and
he came out by himself.
Yeah, he came out by himself, and Steve, his brother, was the manager. Mm-hmm. So we put a band together here in Sydney, and Michael Dolce on guitar, incredible guitar player. We used a bass player from Melbourne, a guy by the name of Nathan, who Andrew Pinto had asked, and Roachford was playing keys.
Okay.
So it was just us. And then we had Carmen singing as BVs for some shows. And so they asked me to tour manage it and just put a band together, and we started doing some gigs, and unbelievable, just unbelievable. He had soul, he had blues, he had everything, and his songs, they were just so good to play. He was a gentleman of a guy, and I loved every moment of it. You know, from rehearsals to speaking to him, just hanging out with him. It was good fun, you know. And one of the last gigs at the Basement, we had Barnesy come up and Mark Lizotte, Diesel come up, and it was fun. Actually, I'll never forget that gig. Mr. Michael Dolce, his amp blew. So he had to play the whole gig in the acoustic guitar. It was a fun gig, actually. But it was a good experience. Yeah. Definitely good experience. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
He lives obviously in the UK, and I think he was just doing some shows. He released an album when he came to Sydney. I should know the name, but I've forgotten. Bad memory. But I'm not too sure what actually happened, how well it went, but the support that he had in Sydney was great. Like all those shows were packed, so he still had that cult following. But we haven't spoken to him since. You know, I haven't.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what he's doing now, but I know that they were trying to push this new album. But yeah, it's been a long time now that I've been in contact with the guys. So. But yeah, it was just a great gig. Yeah.
Was that around the time that album came out, or was
no
the first album?
no.
Okay.
This is long time after. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah, so probably about 9-10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he obviously released those albums a lot longer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a long time ago.
Now, what about Jess Maulboy?
Beautiful girl. Absolutely beautiful girl. Great person to work for. I ended up being her musical director at the time, and I also was her tour manager, and was with her for about 5 years. Awesome person, just a beautiful soul. Sings her ass off like she can sing.
Yeah,
and she's just a great human being, and we had so much fun. And the band was fun, and things went on, and they decided to get a new band, which is all good, and they got a great band now, and Daryl's MDing it, and she's doing really well. You know, I haven't spoken to her for a long time, but fantastic singer, great to work with. You know, the gigs were fun. You know, she's very creative, and it was a good vibe.
Shannon Noll?
Good old Shannon. I have to say his songs were just unreal. Great to play. Great, nice, solid rock songs. Great guy to work with. To be quite honest, every single person that I've worked with in that department were just easygoing, you know, and Shannon was just, you know, he was just a blokey, you know, he was just one of us, you know. You know, we got to go to America with him.
Cool.
Went to the Viper, played in Viper Lounge with him. We did a show at the Gibson launch, which was great. And we did a lot of shows across Sydney, Melbourne, you know, Brisbane, and toured around the whole of Australia. And it was fun. It was really good. His songs, you know, were easy to play, but yet, you know, very catchy. And, great experience. Really good fun.
How long after Idol was that?
It would have been about, I think, 2.5, 3 years after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was with him for about a year. Yeah, it was good fun, and ended up getting a good endorsement with the Yamaha and Sabian. It was great.
Oh,
you know?
great. Yeah, that's always good, that
yeah.
stuff, eh?
It was good bonus. So, it was good, just great songs, you know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what I'm doing now to what I did before. Playing with anyone, it doesn't matter if it's just a local guy on the street or you know, a local cover band. You know, it's everyone's got their niche, and everyone's good at what they do, and it's fun just playing. You know, getting up on stage and playing, and you know, those times they were fun. They were a great experience. You know, obviously now having a family, I'm not touring as much, and I'm running my business and businesses, I should say, and being a dad. But I would never say that I would never do it again, but it was a great experience. Yeah.
That's cool. Who were some of the musicians that inspire you today?
Musicians. As a drummer or just musicians in general?
Either.
Prince. Love Prince. Love Prince. Love all his songs. I was shattered when he died. I've always been a Prince fan. All his songs. Obviously Bon Jovi. I love Bon Jovi. Yeah.
Even the new stuff?
I wouldn't say it's the new stuff, but just I loved his sound.
This house is not for sale.
Oh, mate, what
is that? Come on.
I don't think much of that song.
I mean, Slippery When Wet. I mean, that was
killer.
That was killer. Yeah, I was at intermediate school
Yeah.
when that came out. I'll never forget it. But yeah, when that new album came out, or that new song.
Have a Nice Day. That album too.
Probably not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, there's some bands that are never quite the same when you take one of the core elements out, and I always thought Richie Sambora was one of those elements.
Yeah, he was the key.
Yeah. I mean, Bon Jovi is John Bon Jovi, obviously, and he's got the voice and that kind of thing. But yeah, I when I'd watch their videos, I always tended to be drawn to him and his harmony and the way he played, and
because he actually sang all the high notes.
He did, yeah.
He was actually behind a lot of those. Lay your love on me, only to be with you. Like, lay your love. Jeez, I'm talking about Roachford. Living on a prayer. And,
that's right. And Dead or Alive.
Yeah,
that's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
So you're right about the element, but like Beatles was another favourite band of mine, and great artist, and Motown. Motown.
Yeah. I got into Motown when I started getting right into bass.
Yep.
And when I first started getting bass lessons from Simon Olsen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, do you know Simon?
Yeah,
Olsen?
Simon, yeah.
Yeah. He put me on to a Donny Hathaway album.
Unreal.
Willie Weeks playing bass.
Yeah.
And then at the lessons too, he started showing me some James Jamerson stuff, and I'm like, who's James Jamerson?
Yeah.
And that's when I started getting into him, and getting right deep into the Motown stuff.
Yeah.
That's I had always heard it; it's always been on the radio, but
yeah.
to get deep into that level, having it be the bass, which Jamerson was key, man.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
Hey.
Donny, Donny was, Al Green was another favourite, artist of mine. There's so many that I think now these days you just listen to everything. It's very hard to pinpoint, who was your favourite artist. But I know Prince was always my standout. It was always in front of me.
Okay.
It was always, every single song that Prince ever played, even if it wasn't popular, I'd still like listening to it. So
right.
But I think the more I listen to different musicians and the more I listen to different music, I kind of stopped saying, this is my favourite now, or this is who I just listen to. You just listen to anything, and playing drums for different, with bands and playing with different other bands, you kind of had to listen to everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Was there a favourite Prince era?
Purple Rain, obviously.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Purple Rain was great. The movie was great too, actually. I watched it the other day.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. That era. I think that era, songs when Cream and all that come out, Doves Cry.
Yep.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I think.
What's the name of the drummer before Blackwell?
The
big guy. He played Cream and Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah. Geez, I've gone blank. Michael Bland.
Oh, that's his name. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Beast.
Yeah.
But he was solid. He had a pocket. But I still, unfortunately Johnny's died, but I loved his showmanship. I loved what he brought to the table, But quite sad what happened, but yeah.
Any other drummers these days that catch you? What about any of the modern stuff?
I like Questlove and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Questlove. But I like Sydney drummers as well. Like, cool. I love watching Sydney drummers as well when I've got the night off, or I can go and watch them. But guys like Buddy, he's amazing. Caesar, like, great. Tyrone. Some of these guys are just incredible, man. Like,
who's Tyrone?
A Tongan drummer. He's Tongan.
Yep.
Drummer that plays in the scene. He's just beautiful feel.
Yeah,
great person.
Yep.
Beautiful feel. Just I like watching that. That inspires me now too. You don't have to have that popular name, or I've been playing with all these artists, but you see these guys are just killer players. They live in Sydney and they just play, and they can play. So I think now it's just you like to watch and listen and watch anyone that's around now. But yes, Warren Trout's another great drummer.
Yeah, isn't he?
Really good at Gordy's. Yeah, I used to watch Gordy a lot.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of artists that I've used to watch a lot. Yeah, but Questlove was another favourite drummer of mine, definitely. Yeah.
Were you listening to him through the Roots stuff?
Roots,
Or, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because, being a fan of production,
Yeah.
that's something with the Roots music I love.
Yeah.
It's just their production, the sounds that they get, and, especially drum sounds, kick drum sounds,
Yeah.
cymbal sounds.
Just
Fantastic,
it was
yeah.
just straight beats that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
had some oomph behind it. With like you said, the sound was just great. But who else? Yeah, I mean, obviously like who else was another good drummer that I used to Virgil. Actually,
Yeah.
I used to love Virgil.
Yeah.
Not so much now, but I used to love watching him.
Yeah. I heard Southern Sons are coming out,
Oh wow!
and Virgil's coming back to play with them.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
wonder which Virgil will come,
Choppy version or straight?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
No.
Yeah, I haven't followed him much these days, but
Yep.
but even I remember listening to Vinnie Colaiuta back in the day. Like there were so many drummers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Darren Ferruggio.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I think it was just a list there. Yeah. Chad Wackerman too. You'd go through all those drummers and you'd listen to them, and then you kind of stop and it's just the flavour of the month, I suppose. So yeah.
Any young up and coming guys that have kind of caught your eye? Not necessarily drummers, but just in Sydney.
In Sydney. As a band, as an original band, or
No, just players.
players?
Yeah.
Like I said, those guys that
Yeah.
I was mentioning, guys like Buddy and
Yeah.
Tyrone and Caesar and who else is it? Jose. Do you know Jose?
No.
Yeah. Jose is an incredible Latin drummer, but also, great player with all styles. Percussionist as well. His father was an incredible percussion player we used to play with many years ago. But, Jose is another favourite drummer of mine. Really good. Inspirational to watch, actually.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chops to burn, and just great ability to read, to play the music, and he's another favourite drummer of mine, definitely. But yeah, a lot of those guys, it's good to watch, good to see them out there, and good to see that they're playing, Buddy's got an incredible pocket, and sings like there's no tomorrow. That's a gift. And then you've got guys like Jose that can play percussion like there's no tomorrow, and then play drums like there's no tomorrow. So, the versatility is amazing.
Yeah. Do you get inspired or go,
Oh,
shit,
yeah.
man?
I you know what?
Do you still practice?
I do now. I
awesome.
went back. I had some issues with my wrists where I was getting a lot of pins and needles. So for the last 6-7 months, I've kind of had a big effect on my playing. Where it was coming to a point of thinking, okay, what am I doing here? Do I have to stop? But I got some carpal tunnel issue, but
Okay.
and some pins and needles that need to be resolved. But they're getting better. Like on the weekend I played, and it was 10 times better for some reason. I don't know what's happened, but maybe the rest helped. But I do get inspired. The music scene in Sydney inspire me in general.
Yep.
Because it's just good to see. Really good to see.
So the pins and needles, do you think that's coming from the carpal tunnel, or that be a little bit further up your arm? Because I know a few years back, I tore something in my shoulder, and I didn't realise I'd torn something in my shoulder. But it went into my shoulder and went around the back of my arm and pinched some nerves that went all the way down into my fingers. And I thought I had some carpal tunnel problems, and I was always stretching my wrist and fingers and stuff, and it never helped. Went
Never
to my
helped.
physio, and he goes, "Yeah, it's your shoulder."
Oh wow. Yeah.
And when I got a scan, and I had a little tear in my
Wow.
shoulder.
I've had a problem with my shoulder, but definitely it is carpal tunnel for me.
right.
There's mornings when I wake up and my wife has to hit my hand, to
Oh shit!
take the pins and needle out. But over the last 6-7 months, it's been quite a big effect that where I've had to cancel a lot of gigs.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
a lot of gigs, and
Right.
even last minute ones where it's like my hand was that numb, I couldn't play. Hey, buddy, hey, Jose, hey, Tyrone, quick, can you do this gig? Urgent, Caesar, can you do this gig? So there's been, a few gigs where it was just last minute. But over the weekend, it seemed like it was getting better. However, I've still got to get it done. There's definitely it's definitely carpal tunnel. Yeah,
right,
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Pain in the backside, but
Yeah, my old man had his carpal tunnels fixed. Yeah,
yeah. It's funny, if I'm not working, something will happen to me. I'll catch a flu. I'm one of those guys that I have to work. I have to do something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what will happen when I do it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be very hard to swallow when you're not doing nothing.
I know what you mean by that because this winter has been crazy. I've been doing all this and working as well, and then coaching both my girls different grades of soccer.
Yeah.
So it's just been
awesome.
full on, and then last week soccer finished, so I got to sort of calm down a little bit. And I was sick.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I had a cold, and I was trying to record the interview to the last, not the last one, but the one before.
Wow.
And I was a bit crook, and I had to keep redoing it because I'm coughing and sneezing, and
Oh, wow. Yeah. It
sick.
happens, eh?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think all men go through that phase where if they're not working, I think it's our gene. We have to do something, I suppose. Yeah. But quite. I remember going actually on our honeymoon, and it was the first time I was away from the office, and it was very hard for me to not sit in the office. It's just I always bring back the way I've been brought up. Dad's always said you got to work, you got to work, you got to work, you got to work. So I think the time that I had off, it was like, okay, I don't feel normal here. What am I doing?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a good thing, but
Are you a control freak?
should ask the band.
That was a bit harsh. Are you a control freak? No, you know what I mean. Do you like to?
Oh, look.
Do you micromanage?
Maybe many years ago where I used to micromanage a lot of stuff. I wouldn't say control freak, but I don't like to let anyone down. So I'd like to make sure it's done right. So,
Gotcha.
yeah, I would say, a little bit, More placid these days compared to what I was maybe, like if you're late, I would be so upset. But, I think it's, if you'd ask my wife, she'd say, So, I think there's an element there. I wouldn't say control. I'd say more perfectionist.
Perfectionist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely two sides, eh?
Yeah.
You're either control freak or perfectionist.
Yeah.
Perfectionist, I think, can sit back afar, but control freak needs to be into everything, eh?
My wife reckons I've got OCD. Everything has to be perfect and clean. And
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I do. I drive her mad, man, but definitely.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How's the coffee shop going?
It's fun. It's good.
Okay.
It's quite tiring, obviously.
So what sort of hours?
Well, at the moment, I'm getting there between 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And I try and get there at least 3-4 days a week, at least 3 days. And then I run my entertainment company, and that's full on. So, if I'm at the shop during the day and I finish, say, at 3-4 o'clock or 2 o'clock, then I'm straight in the office till 11-12 at night.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so I'm doing that every night. So I meet, up to 5 to 7 brides a week, and I'm always on the phone with clients, and I'm doing emailing, worksheets and quoting and,
While we're here, Emilio gave me a checklist, and I'm emailing clients while we're talking. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I should check my phone now.
I've heard your phone go a couple of times.
Yeah.
And mine's gone a couple of times too.
Wow.
How professional of us.
Yeah, I know. We should have turned it off, eh?
Yeah, it's all good.
But yeah, it's quite hectic, and it's I feel bad for my wife. She's looking after Bubba, and we've got a new one coming. So yeah, look, I try to spend some time with them, but it's just really hard. It's just full on. There's so much going on. Sometimes people say, why don't you employ someone? But, a lot of the clients like to come and see me, Right. I've had staff, and it wasn't worth it. They rather come and sit down with you and you're the owner, let
Right.
me hear it from you. You know,
I think some industries it kind of needs to be like that, doesn't it?
yeah, which is not a good thing because you don't really have time off. But I promise my wife will go away one day.
One day.
I don't know when.
Did you cap it at that?
I just said one day. I think I'm a workaholic.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what does a day at the shop actually involve? So you've got to get there at 4 a.m.
So I get there between 4:30 in the morning.
Yep.
We set the shop up. We start making all the sandwiches.
Okay.
We prep any food like pastas that are going to be made.
So you're doing that as well? You're
Yeah.
Doing okay.
Yeah, yep. So there's myself and Kathy, who's there a few days a week, but preparing meatballs, preparing schnitzel,
Okay.
pastas. If it's gnocchi, it's actually a hole in the wall. You should come down. It's as big as this room, I suppose. It's quite small.
Okay.
You can't actually sit inside. There's a couple of tables outside, and it's just a small espresso bar. But what we've created is like a laneway, Melbourne-ish style cafe.
Oh, awesome.
And it's cool, you know. We do great coffee, and I'm behind the machine. And if I'm not behind the machine, I'm making sandwiches, and we basically make them every morning. And we just, come 6:30, 7 o'clock. They're ready to grab their coffees, their caps and flat whites, and their mixed soy and almond and all that. But no, it's good. It's a good vibe.
Is there much you change during the week, or is it kind of set menu type thing? I'm just trying to work out how it sort of all comes together with because the entertainment thing's completely different animal, isn't it?
How does it come to, I tell you what, I'm a people's person. I love interacting. I love meeting people. I love talking.
Yep.
I love to hang out with people. It's good fun. But I've always loved coffee, and I've always loved an espresso bar. It was always a dream as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was something that I liked because, I like being behind the machine. I like making coffee, and it actually takes away what I love as well, and that's playing music. But it actually gives me a bit of a rest.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And I'm not dealing with the business side. I'm just making coffee and making sandwiches.
Yeah, that's cool. Yep.
And my wife looks after the business side of this, which is great.
Right.
So it kind of relaxed me, to be quite honest.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure does. Even though I'm tired, it sure does.
And maybe employ someone at your shop, man. Give yourself a bit of a break.
Yeah, we've got a couple of girls now that have started. There's another one starting in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to have, I won't be more involved than what I am now. Obviously I can take a couple of days off. I'm already taking a couple of days, but I can pull back even more and just concentrate on the EP stuff, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
With the EP stuff, is there a peak time of year for you? Wedding season.
Yeah, it's been quite lucky because of Soul Nights. They're a really great band, and the musicians Yao and Benny and Maybell and Jamie and Leroy. It's been a great tight unit, and because of their hard work, we've created something, and it's been good, and we're getting a lot of corporates and a lot of events. So it hasn't been slow for us at all, touch wood, which has been great, and I'm very happy, and that's something that I wanted for us so we can be consistent.
Awesome.
And but overall, with the other side of the airlist and floor shows and stuff like that, that's been a bit quiet, and that seems to be seasonal. But with the bands, I think you sort of like divvy up. You got your venues, and then you got your corporates. And so when it's slower, you go and do your venues. When it's peak, you obviously do your corporates. So it's in between, So it's pretty good, Yeah.
Now, how does the human statue? So like, do you sell that as a human? We have human statues, or do you actually get people that come up and go, can you provide me a human statue?
Yeah. So, for example, we did a thing for Coca-Cola a few weeks ago, and they wanted a human statue. To me, obviously, what is it? It's just someone, dressed in a statue, and it's just a gimmick. It's a look, and they wanted to do something in that theme, and they wanted some human statues.
Right.
Is it a big seller? Is it something that happens? No, it's not. You might get two in 2 years, or
Oh, right. Okay.
yeah, it's not a popular thing, you know.
Right.
We're an aerialist or some acro floor shows or some dances. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah,
Apart from the band, what's the biggest seller?
the dances.
The dancers, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
hip hop, street. Not so much Brazilian, but the hip hop and street dances are quite popular.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Through all age groups?
There's a group called the Incognitos that a good friend of mine, Richard's, put together, and they're basically waiters, and they go around on the table. So, for example, you're getting married, they go around the table and they're pouring water on everyone's table as a normal waiter would, and then all of a sudden they drop some cutlery, and they're hidden as waiters, and they break into these routines, the hip hop and street, and all
wicked.
choreographed. And that's one of my biggest sellers, to be quite honest.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually a good little show. Great. I had them at my wedding, so they were good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're popular, and what else is there? The burlesque dancers quite popular. The burlesque in the champagne flute, it's quite popular. Yep. We've got some spheres where, basically it's a big balloon, and you've got people doing some ballerining inside as an acro inside a big balloon.
Right.
And it happens in corporates, which is great. But, you know, the aim is to push the band, you know. That's the priority, you know. Yep. Soul Nights or the band is the priority. So,
did you plan your wedding?
Yeah, I got up. Sweet As was the band.
No, did you plan your wedding?
Oh, I planned it, yes.
Right. So were you working on your wedding day?
Ooh, this is a touchy one. My wife thought I was a bridezilla or a groomzilla. She'll laugh at this, but I don't think she had any say on anything. No, besides the dress. No, sorry, no. But yeah, I actually controlled that from getting.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Did you get to relax on your wedding day? But no.
Do you know what I did at 11 o'clock when everyone was partying and that? I was so it was fun. It was great, but yeah, like obviously being in the industry, you know, the florist and the hire car guys, and they're all friends of mine, you know, and my poor wife's like, oh, you've already booked that? Yeah, I've done that. You've done that. Yep, I've done that. So yeah, it was a great day. Great day. But yeah, I controlled that.
You controlled that day. Nice one. Perfectionist.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. But we did have Sweet As there, which was great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so they were good fun.
Yep, awesome. All right, man. So what's the next 12 months? Is the book full?
At the moment, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got a fair few weddings next year booked as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this year seems to be very good. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so it kind of works as a 6-month bracket as well. So, you know, people that are booking now will be booking for January, February, March. And, you know, in January they'll book for, you know, the October, September dates, you know. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's quite positive. And I'm working quite hard to make it work. Even though sometimes the industry can be slow and it can be up and down, you really got to put the effort in.
Got to be proactive.
Yeah, definitely. You always got to chase venues. You always got to chase people, chase quotes, you know. And that can be frustrating too at times. You know, you send them a quote and you spend hours and then don't hear from months, and then you said, okay, what's happened? Oh, no, we found someone else, you know. So that's where you've got to kind of bite your tongue and go, okay, that's how they've dealt with it. You just got to move on, you know. So that's the frustrating bit, you know.
And what about competition? You got much competition?
Oh, there's heaps of great bands out there.
Yeah.
You know, heaps of great bands. And you know what? They're all learning. Like talking about young guys, they're all learning, and they're doing what I did when I was younger. They're doing what, you know, I'm sure you were doing what you were doing when you were younger. But so there is a lot of competition, a lot of bands, you know.
That can only be good for our scene, you know.
I reckon so. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, definitely. You know, I think we all need to set the benchmark. We make sure that we're all pricing accordingly. You know, we're not underdoing and going too low, because
a lot of that going on, eh?
Oh, absolutely. It's it happens all the time. You know, you get people calling you saying, "I got that band for that much." Oh, okay. How'd you get that? You know, we're doing 5 sets. Oh, okay. How'd you get that? You know, it's so you've got to kind of say, okay, well, that's that band. This is what we charge, or this is what we do. You know, so you kind of got to sell your product and know that your product is good.
Yeah.
And you believe in it, then there's no problem. If you don't believe in your product, then you just, you know, it's just
it's day to day.
That's
day
right.
by day. It's,
Exactly.
You're not playing the long game, eh?
Exactly.
Yep.
You know, and it's the same thing at the coffee shop. If you don't believe in your coffee and your product, then, you know, then they can feel it and they're going to go, well, he doesn't feel that coffee's right. Well, why would I want to go there? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely have to have that confidence. Even if you're not confident about it, you just got to be confident about it. So, yeah.
Oh, man, it's all looking good.
Yeah.
Baby on the way and
Yeah, baby boy.
exciting times.
It is.
Yep.
It's going to be a handful, but I'm
Yeah.
sure it's another new journey, I suppose.
2's good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got 2, right?
Yeah. You wait till they start interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the fun part.
That's cool. And then you can get to the point where they just go and play, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually,
Cool, good times.
my wife said to me the other day, I said, how many kids do you want? I said, oh, honey, I want to create a band. She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, once we've got a band, then we're fine.
Yeah.
She goes, so what, you want more than 2? I said, it's whatever happens, darling, whatever happens. You know, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But it's always good to have a family, you know.
Yeah, totally.
You know, it's a blessing to have kids. You know, they're amazing to, even to watch them. Even Sophia, you just watch her talk a little bit, you know, and call you dad, you know, even if it's 2 a.m, dad, you know, you got to wake up and you got to go and get her, you know. So yeah, it's a good thing,
Yeah.
you know. But you know, funny, we bought her a little piano the other day. She's jumping on this little piano and, do you like the piano? She's shaking her head. So, you know, it's good. You know,
That's cool.
you hope that you can inspire the kids to play music as well. And, you know, I always say that, you know, it's always a good thing to play an instrument.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got, as you can see, instruments all around here, but also upstairs, a piano, and there's guitars and ukuleles and, you know, drums. There's always stuff there for them just to pick up and play. And
do they play? Do they get up and play?
sometimes they do. They're both very coordinated and very melodic.
Wow.
So in time, you know, hopefully it happens. But my daughter found this, it's like a, you know, it's like a Akai MPC app on her iPad.
Yeah.
So she's getting into the tapping grooves out the sounds on the pads.
On the pads, great.
Oh, man, she's doing so well with it the other day.
That's
she records them and...
That's great.
You know,
See what I mean?
She gets these 8-bar patterns and they're in her head.
Wow.
And then she'll just do the pattern and you know, always come back to that next pad.
Oh,
and,
wow.
So, yeah, that's
See, that's a pickup off Dad.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, that's so that's inspiration. You know, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That's how old is your daughter?
She's 9.
She's 9.
Yep.
Wow.
And
That's
my
great.
youngest is 7.
That's awesome.
Last year, I think it was, we went to this, they called it a music exploration night at this new music shop that's opened up in North Parramatta.
At North Parramatta? Okay.
Yeah. And they got to sit down and play on the drums, play on the piano, and I think they've got
Bit of gene there.
Yeah, I think so, but we're not pushing it.
Yeah.
You know? We say to them, "Do you want to learn piano this term or nah?"
Yeah.
Nah.
It's good because even Dad, he tells my wife all the time. I say, "Is he still playing drums?" And my wife's, "Yeah." So, is he doing okay? Like it's, you know, I think he's you know, going to scar my wife now. but you know, it's good to have kids playing music.
Totally.
You know, I wish, you know, Dad was very supportive when I was younger because I think, you know, any kid that's out there, doesn't matter what you're doing, you know, do what you love and go and do it. That's how I see it, you know. So, yeah.
That's great.
Interesting.
It is. Emilio Panetta, thanks so much, man, for being on the Gig Life podcast.
Thank you for
hanging out with me today and And yeah, it was really cool, man.
Oh, thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure and an honour. You know, I really love this stuff, and it's it's great what you're doing.
Thank you,
It
man.
really is. Yeah, good on you.
And I'll be down for a coffee.
Yeah, anytime you want. Always open for you, mate.
Sweet as, bro. Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
All right,
Thank
later.
you. Yeah.